Well, the AFC North comes down to these last couple of weeks here in Week 15 of the NFL season, and honestly, I'm pretty surprised. I didn't really see the Browns having a chance at the division with the way we've been playing, but at the same point, I don't really think any of us deserve it at this point. All four of our teams are pretty dang good, but I don't think any of us are horrible, and I don't think any of us are great. I think these are four good teams that all have their strengths and their weaknesses. I just think it's all about being consistent, and I don't think any of our teams have been consistent. The Bengals just lost 2 out of 3 when it mattered most. The Ravens lost 3 in a row. The Browns won 2 out of 3. And then Steelers, they just won one, but they could have won versus the Vikings to really have a chance for first place. I think what it comes down to is all four of these teams have a chance. There is no team eliminated. If the Steelers would have lost today, I think they would have been eliminated from the playoffs, period. But they won, they have a good chance. Bengals, they won, they have a great chance. The reason why I say a great chance is they have a great chance at the wild card, even if they don't win the division. The Ravens, though, the Ravens have to play the Steelers, who are getting hotter and hotter each week. They have to play the Rams, they just beat the Cardinals at the Cardinals. If they get hot, watch out. And then also they got to play the Bengals, who the Bengals killed them, and wow. So the Ravens probably had the toughest path. Because even if Lamar Jackson, we're going to go team by team here. If we go to the Ravens here and we predict what happens in their last 3 games, they play at the Bengals. I'm going to say they're going to win. And the only reason why is the Ravens lost 3 in a row. If they lose this game, that would be 4 in a row. I just don't see it happening. With the way the Bengals are, they won by 5 to really a bad Broncos team, in my opinion. I really see Lamar Jackson coming back, having a bounce back game, and the Bengals just being the Bengals, and they just choke. Bengals, I'm a huge fan of them, even though I'm a Browns fan. I kind of want them to succeed because they're in Ohio. It's kind of like Cincinnati for the college playoff. Like, I'm not a Cincinnati fan. I'm a Browns fan. I'm an OSU fan. But if Cincinnati wins, I'm not really mad. I mean, it's still in Ohio, good for them to represent Ohio. But I just don't see them winning. It's not that I don't want them to win. I just don't see them winning. It's just what it is. I had the Ravens winning that game. Then they play the Rams. I'm going to have the Rams winning that one. And then I have the Ravens Steelers. I'm going to actually go ahead and I'm going to probably say Ravens win that one. So I have the Ravens winning 2 out of 3, and they're going to be 10-7. So then where it comes in is they are 10-7. That means the Browns, the Browns, Bengals, or Pittsburgh, they have to almost win out to get 10-11 wins. We then go to the Steelers, and again, this is all my predictions, Nothing is correct. Nothing's the right answer. I'm trying to be the most honest ever, and that's how I think it's going to go. The Steelers, they then play at the Chiefs, which I'm going to say it's a loss. They're a 10-point underdog. The Chiefs are one of the hottest teams in the league. They won 7 in a row. It's at Arrowhead Stadium. If the Steelers win, then it just shows you how much respect they deserve. I already respect Pittsburgh. People get the wrong image that, I dislike them, borderline hate them, but it doesn't mean I don't respect them. I think they never die. They have a great coach. Big Ben is definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. Najee Harris is a great running back. If I had to put my life on the line, I'm betting the Chiefs. Then they play the Browns, which I'm going to be dead honest with you, it's going to be a coin flip. I don't know who's going to win this game. I think if the Browns just do better offensively, then we'll, because we scored 10 points last time. If we can just score at least 15, 16 points, I think we'll win the game. I think Garrett and Clowney is going to be really good for Big Ben. But like I said, what it comes down to is I'm going to go ahead and say probably Pittsburgh wins. I mean, I'm being serious. I mean, if I really had to put my house on it, probably Pittsburgh wins that game. They have our number. It's just what it is. But then you play the Ravens and you lose. I think it's at Ravens. The Ravens have to win. I think it's at the Ravens. Ravens win. So you guys lose 2 more games. You guys are going to be 8-1. That's not going to make the playoffs. I think you guys are going to be like just screwed over because you're not going to get an early draft pick. You're going to miss the playoffs, and that's kind of being generous. I gave you guys the win versus the Browns. I gave you guys the I did lose versus the Chiefs and Ravens, but still, that's still being pretty generous because I could have easily said you guys lost all 3. Now, if you guys think the Steelers are going to beat the Chiefs, I mean, fine, but I mean that's a pretty bold statement at the Chiefs. So you guys are going to go 8-1. Then we go to the Ravens. They're 10-7. So first place is Ravens, second place is Steelers. Now where are the Bengals and Browns? Well, we go over here to the NFL. We search up the Bengals, and we now see where the Bengals are going to be. And the Bengals are hosting the Ravens. And I said, about 5 minutes ago, I'm picking the Ravens. If the Bengals win, they're in the playoffs almost guaranteed. Unless they somehow lose out and they just if they win, they're in. But I had them losing that game. They then play the Chiefs, which I had them losing that game too. And then they play the Browns at the Browns. I'm going to have them losing that one too. Because the Browns had the Bengals number. We won the last 3. We killed them last time. I don't think they can stop Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. I don't think they had the defensive personnel to do it. And also, I think that our pass rush is really good for Joe Burrow and the banged up Bengals O-line. The Bengals actually lose out, and the Bengals are actually going to be 8-9. So with they are lucky they beat the Broncos, because if they lose that game, they're eliminated, I think. Okay? Because I don't see them winning. Like, it's a 50-50 game, but, versus the Ravens and versus the Browns, on paper, But the Ravens and the Browns have their number. If the Bengals beat the Ravens, or if the Bengals beat the Browns, they earned it. They earned it. They beat Pittsburgh twice. They beat the Ravens. They beat the Browns here. Maybe they somehow beat the Chiefs. They earned it. They earned it. I just don't see it happening. Bengals are going to go to 9-8. Ravens are 10-7. They're still in first. And Pittsburgh is going to be 8-1. It now comes down to the Cleveland Browns. And this is the only situation the Browns can do it. The Browns are 7-6. If we win all 4 games, okay, and again, this is a big if, the Browns are 11-6. We would easily get first place. It's over. The Browns, let's say they only lose 1. So let's say they lose versus the Packers. They then have 7 losses and they're 10-7. Well, if they're 10-7 and the Ravens are 10-7, it comes down to division record. The Baltimore Ravens, if they do what I said they would do, and they beat the Steelers, and they beat the Steelers, and then they beat the Bengals. The Baltimore Ravens are going to be 10-7 with a conference record of division record of 3-3. But if the Browns, and this is where the Browns schedule comes in tough, if we lose versus the Raiders, it is still not over. Because if we lose versus the Raiders, but beat the Packers, we're very much in it. But if we beat the Raiders and lose to the Packers, which is the opposite, then we're one loss away from eliminated. Okay? What this comes down to is everyone thinks, oh, one more loss, we're eliminated. Not really. I just ran the playoffs down for you guys based on my predictions and pretty much unbiased because I had the Steelers beating the Browns. So what happens for the Browns is, if I go to the Browns schedule here, the Browns have got to win 3 out of the 4. We can still lose one more, go 10-7, and we would own the tiebreaker over the Ravens, just based on division record. We can go, the Ravens can win out and get 11 wins, but I don't think the Ravens are going to beat the Rams, Steelers, and Bengals. If the Ravens bounce back, they lost 3 in a row, and then they lose 3 in a row, and then they win 3 in a row, that'd be insane. The Browns have got to go out there and they have got to win at least 3 of these games. So if we lose the Packers game, we have to win the Steelers game. If we win the Packers game, then we can lose versus Pittsburgh, and it wouldn't matter to us. So we can lose one more game. That's what I'm trying to say here. That's the moral of the story. If we lose one more game and we win the rest, which again, Raiders, Bengals, very winnable. Very winnable. They're both at home. We killed the Bengals before. We had their number. The Raiders are banged up. No Waller, no Trayvon Mullen, no linebackers. And yeah, the Browns have COVID issues, but still we're at home. And the Raiders are kind of out of the playoffs, so they're kind of just playing spoiler. There's no head coach. There's really not much motivation. If the Browns win versus the Raiders and Bengals, that's literally 9 wins. We only need one more. You then get one more win. You have 10 wins. I mean, you got to beat the Packers or the Steelers. You have 2 games to win 1 game. You win one of those 2. You have 10 wins. And according to, now this is my prediction. According to my prediction, here is the final standings. Browns first place 10-7. Second place Ravens 10-7, just because of tiebreaker implications. Number 3 is Bengals. Actually, no. Number 3 is Pittsburgh at 8-1. And the Bengals in last at 8-9. Tell me which game you would flip. If I had to bet my life on the Browns story, I would say the Cleveland Browns. Okay, the Cleveland Browns, if I really had to say for the Browns schedule, okay, I'm pulling Browns schedule real quick here. Browns schedule right here, man. I say we beat the Raiders, we beat the Bengals, we lose versus Pittsburgh, and we somehow beat the Packers. That's my prediction. Okay, and again, like I said, if we beat the Raiders, but then we lose versus the Packers, and we lose versus Pittsburgh, it is pretty much over. We have to beat the Raiders and then one of the games between Packers and Steelers. And even if we lose both of them, if the Ravens lose, we'll say the Ravens lose versus Pittsburgh or the Ravens lose versus someone else, that gives the Browns a chance too. Remember, the Ravens are supposed to get 10 wins if they win 2 out of 3. Okay? All right, I mean, this was very complicated, but we're going to end the video. Peace.